looking back at the world from another level, you know what I mean?
Multiple gunshots to the block, the fun stops. Niggas was calling cops, people shot, nobody stopped. I wonder when the world stopped. Cameron last night, 2 kids shot, while the whole block staring. I will never understand this society. But they try to murder me, then they lie to me. Brought a cup of John Free, all my homies try to weed. Now the little baby's crazy, raised up in the sea. Tell me when my enemies flee, when they see me. Believe me.
Welcome to the UI experience. Welcome to the UI experience.
Good afternoon, urban intellectuals and those out there in web listening land. I just want to welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Real Talk with Jalal Tariq show, formerly known as the UI Daily Show. I think we got a pretty good show for you today, and as usual, Brother Aday supplied me with the first topic and a question he asked on the page.
For a little bit.
What was that? Something in the background. Anyway, as usual, we usually start our show with the same request that those of you who like what we're doing and want to support our cause can go to urbanintellectuals.com/members, and for the low price of $24 a year, you can become a card-carrying member of Urban Intellectuals. Or if you don't want to be a member but you still want to support the cause, you can go to urbanintellectuals.com/donate, and you can give to your heart's content. And today I'm joined by my usual brothers in consciousness. I'm here with Terry Banks. TB, say hi to the people.
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
And back from hiatus, hopefully I can get this brother on, on a more regular basis, because I always like to hear what he got to see. Black Pat, Patrick Irvine is here. Say hi to the people, Pat.
How you doing, everybody?
How you doing, everybody? Well, let's move right into the show. I kind of want to, I changed directions at the last minute because I actually started to deal with that whole subject of Blackish that I started on the page last night. I put one little old semi-joke type post up and ended up talking about that for the next 2.5 hours. And, people got really deep about that. But like we said, we're going to have to do that on a Saturday or something, and talk about today's images in black TV. But what I wanted to talk about today is whether or not there is a black spectrum. And this question has been phrased in numerous ways, numerous different variations of the basic theme. But basically my question is this. Getting back to what they used to call the paper bag test. If you were lighter than the paper bag, then you had it was a certain way that you were treated. And if you was darker than the paper bag, there was a certain way that you was treated. But my question is, in today's society, in 2014, is there still a black spectrum? Are you considered black enough? And what is the definition of being black enough? Patrick, I'm going to hit you first.
Well, personally, I think there is a spectrum. I think everybody has their own unique black experience. That's part of what makes it special. And that's also part of what makes it interesting, is that, it is, everybody's going to have a different idea of what it means to be black. I do believe in the whole black card mythos. I do believe that there are some generally accepted practices for black people. And by that, I'm not talking about anything extravagant or anything like that. I'm just merely saying, typically, in my opinion, it's the same as with any other group of people. If you're black, but you make it your business to try to destroy black people or destroy black culture, or you look down on other black people or this, that, or the third, we will pull your black card. We commonly refer to those people as coons or sellouts or Uncle Toms or this, that, or the third, Sambos. Since it's coming to light that Uncle Tom is kind of actually a heroic reference in some ways. So, to that aspect, there definitely is a black card or a generally accepted mode of operation or way of thinking, which is that, all black people aren't despicable, low life, lowest common denominators, blah, blah, blah. But beyond that, the black experience is vast and varied. And, so you can't really restrict it beyond that. As was said on your last show, we have some commonalities, like the struggle, which is a common thing for black people, specifically dealing with race in America is going to be a struggle. And we also have the common thread of hope. There's always hope that things will get better. If there wasn't, we would have been flipped out and either killed ourselves or killed everybody else. So there's always the theme of hope that eventually things will get better. And those two things run concurrently, and they both kind of fuel each other in the black experience. I don't think you can necessarily qualify the black experience in general, but you can most definitely quantify everybody's unique versions and unique instances and the way the world reacts to the black experience. You can quantify that and use that to qualify that there really is such a thing as a black experience in America.
Okay. Terry, let me ask you this. I got an individual. We're just going to say his name is Terry. And this individual lives in, say, the outskirts of a major metropolitan area. He is one of maybe only 4 blacks in the whole neighborhood. He's the only one on his block, and the only other ones that he know of live like 2 blocks over, 3 blocks over going west, maybe down around the corner, whatever. When did we get to the point, in your estimation, when did we get to the point, and where is the value in saying that because Terry came from the hood and made it to the burbs, that Terry is no longer black enough? Let me ask you that.
That all started when we, after the civil rights legislation was passed in 64, and after black folks started to acquire a little bit of money and started to, get a taste of what it is to actually participate in the society without being discriminated against and without having to drink in colored and white fountains and that kind of thing, because we started to assimilate. We started to place ourselves in a position where we said, now I want to kind of see what it is like to live like the white man. And so that's what we started doing. We started trying to go to live in a nice big house in another area where it's green grass and white picket fences. And we wanted, a dog and 2.5 kids. So that's when we started to separate ourselves. And that leads us to get to people like, Charles Barkley, who came out with this dumbass statement he made, trying to call us out. So I actually had a response to Charles Barkley and what he had to say. And my response to him was, it's twofold. One is he considers himself to be smart. He made it, and so everybody else should be able to make it. But he could be labeled as a smart nigga. So I would say, smart niggas sound like sellout niggas to dumb niggas who are never going to be smart niggas. Why? Well, so smart niggas can always have dumb niggas to point the finger at and say, see, Mr. White Man, I ain't one of them dumb niggas. So can I please live next door to you and marry your daughter? He wants to be them. And then you have the response of saying, well, here's what this is about. If you want to say it in the most intelligent way, I see it this way. Any black person who becomes successful should not look to put down or blame other black people who are not able to overcome their life's circumstances. Because every black person in America has had different barriers placed in their lives that contribute heavily to their particular inability to rise to a higher level. You see, black people who made it should not try to point their fingers at their less fortunate brothers and sisters and say, see, I made it, so you should be able to make it too. Because the reality of it is that we all have different degrees of difficulties that we've had to contend with in our own individual lives. So because of that, some of us are just not going to be able to overcome those difficulties. But we don't need people like Charles Barkley trying to call us out to the white man and say, because I'm still in the hood or I ain't making the same kind of money he's making, that somehow I'm a part of the problem and I'm making him look bad. Where does that rationale come from, except from the sellout mentality?
You know, I read it, you know, and I've read it from two or three different perspectives. I've heard the conservative way of looking at it. I've heard the radical way of looking at it, the militant way of looking at what he said. Charles Barkley can't even pronounce terrible. It comes out terrible, you know. So in the overall scheme of things, Charles Barkley is meaningless, really and truly. And it's like the whole situation with Stacey Dash, like we was talking about Stacey Dash a couple of weeks ago. When you have a megaphone, sometimes you need to take your megaphone and put it in your car. You know what I mean? You need to fold it up, put it up under the chair, and just not open your mouth and let us know that you a dummy. Because a lot of people always figured that Charles Barkley, you was one of them dudes that they was talking about that got passed through school. You know what I mean? That you didn't go to class because I can hear it in your voice. I can hear it in the way that you structure certain, sentences. Not your accents. You from Alabama. You sound just like U.I. Jane. You know what I mean? All y'all sound like that from Alabama. It's not a bad thing. It's just where you're from, But the way he puts together certain words and certain terms, you can tell that he ain't the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree.
Absolutely.
And now that you done opened your mouth, you done let everybody in the country know that, dude, you kind of slow, because he is perpetuating a myth, in my opinion. This is the way I've always looked at it. He's perpetuating that myth that we don't celebrate our success or others of our kind's success. They think that we only applaud the success of entertainers, of athletes, the occasional scientists, like Professor Tyson or people like that. But if my third cousin, or if my uncle's son, my other cousin, or if my aunt, if she start her business and she move out to, the suburbs, there's this common misconception that we're not happy for our aunt. And I think it's true in some cases, but I think it's overblown. And I think a lot of times what we end up doing is we end up breathing life into that myth because we perpetuate that. We will say that, oh, man, you just hating. You know what I mean? Or we'll say, everybody knows that, once you get to the suburbs, you become one of them, them uppity type Negroes. I mean, they made a whole show about it. That's what the Jeffersons was about. Moving on up to the east side. And how they tended to, not really, they weren't like they were when they was living next to Archie Bunker. You see what I'm saying?
But you know what, though, Kenneth?
What's that?
That comes from us having the same. That comes from us believing anything that they tell us about ourselves.
Exactly.
That comes from us had that whole double consciousness thing that black people really are struggling with, where we view ourselves as ourselves, but we also view ourselves as other people view us. So we a lot of these myths that carry through the black community are myths that we've been told about ourselves, that we just perpetuate because we refuse. We like to think of ourselves as the example instead of the rule, or the exception instead of, the rule itself. So instead of me being successful and having all my friends be proud and happy for me and my family being proud and happy for me, instead of me thinking that normal for black society. I want to feel special, and so I tell myself that I'm the exception. Everybody ain't like me. Everybody's different. Everybody did blah, 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 blah. So a lot of black people don't have this, or a lot of black people don't have that, and people never really look into the numbers of the situation. They never actually look at the research that's presented to say otherwise. A interesting point there is these same people that'll say, we glorify this culture or we glorify that culture. They're normally sitting in a circle of other black people who don't glorify that. So who are these black people that you're talking about?
Exactly.
Well, here's the thing. Let me add this. We also have to look at, among ourselves, we have to look at how we actually define success, because everybody has a different meaning of what success actually means. When do you become a success? Is it when you make a certain amount of money? Is it when you bought a house that has a certain property value? Is it when you have a certain kind of a car? Is it when you've reached a certain type of degree status? What is success? So me, myself, I view success as, okay, number one, I'm not on drugs. I'm not in prison. I'm a free man. I hold down a job, and I'm able to pay my bills, take care of myself, and pay my taxes. So I'm a success. You see, but then others would say, well, no, you're not, because you ain't making $100,000 a year, and you ain't got no wife, or you ain't got no big car, you ain't got no big house. So those who are in that category are the ones that become a part of the problem, because they're identifying success with the amount of materials that you accomplish, the amount of materialism that you acquire, the number of things that you wind up getting. And that's not what success is. Success is that a human being is able to function in this society and take care of themselves by the use of their own mental capacities. And they're not living off of anybody. And they're not begging for handouts. To me, that's a success. And there are a lot of us in the community that are successes. But if you want to compare that to the brother who got the doctorate degree and they call themselves Dr. Such and Such, okay, then I'm going to be labeled as a nobody. I'm a problem to society because I don't have that doctorate degree that he has. And that's where, again, we start to do the infighting amongst each other as black folks when we start comparing our quote-unquote successes.
And that is true.
And you know what? One more thing before I bounce up out of here. We do want to talk about redefining our success and redefining our own image, and being able to communicate and talk to each other, and setting up our own lenses, if you will, for how we're going to view our society, how we're going to view our culture, how we're going to view ourselves. That's part of what, I'm going into a shameless plug here, but it'll be brief, I promise. That's part of what UI is for. Like, UI is trying to become that mirror for black America that's not tainted by white supremacy. That's a mirror of our own creation that can show us, that can engage in those conversations. Some of the most important talks you'll ever have in your life, you'll have in front of the mirror with yourself, trying to figure out who you are and what you're going to do with yourself. That's what the UI is trying to become, that mirror that black America can stand in front of and have a conversation with itself about where it's going, how it views itself. Is that white hair ready to be popped yet, or does it need to be left alone for a couple days? You know what I'm saying? Is that plaque build up on my teeth? I might need to go see a dentist about that. You know what I'm saying? Even to what the community is going to be for us. This mirror is getting a little foggy. It's time to clean that up a little bit. So we have to move into that area until we can get there where black America is or has its own frame of reference for these types of things. We're always going to have that infighting that Terry spoke of earlier.
And absolutely. What I've always prided UI about, or what I've always been proud of UI, is in our ability to take an argument or take a subject and make people tell the truth. That there are no extremes. There are no absolutes when it comes to us as a people. Yes, you're going to have brothers that's going to, move out to the gated community and don't tell his people where he live. Yeah, you're going to have those individuals. Yeah, you're going to have those individuals who, once he does move to that gated community, will not allow him to come back to the hood. Yeah, you're going to have those individuals. But for the most part, everybody else is somewhere in the middle. That, yeah, there are going to people that act like that, and I'm not going to accept them, and there are going to people that act like that, and I'm going to accept them back. And know that they my brother or they my sister anyway. That's what I like about us, because we make people tell the truth. You was going to say something, Terry?
Yeah, I was going to say it's nothing wrong with the brother or the sister who does choose to leave Delaney Projects or leave McCullough Homes, or leave Cabrini Green and move to a nicer place, a nicer community where they can smell the fresh air, where they can look, they can leave the door unlocked and nobody comes in and steals their stuff. It's okay to rise. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just don't rise and then now look down on those who are still trying to rise. That's where the problem would come in. If you just simply now are saying and thinking to yourself, I've come out of those projects and now everybody else who's still left behind, whereas before they were my friends, now they just some hood niggas. That's what we don't want to happen, and that's what some people do. That's what people like Barkley and these other people get, that attitude where I've risen, and those who are still stuck there, that's their problem, and they're now the problem in society. Whereas when you were here with us begging for food because you didn't have none, and coming, your mama sending you over to get food, mother, okay, we was on the same level then. So what happened because you wound up playing basketball and getting a couple more dollars than me now that suddenly changed me from, being what I once was to what I still am, and you vice versa. I'm still hood. Now you King Charles. So that's what I don't like about it, when we start to divide ourselves based on how far we've risen. If you've risen, fine, but it's all temporary regardless. You're not going to be able to take it with you, and you're going to be dead as hell like the next person at some point. So while we're here in the live, you should be focused on just, okay, you made it, fine. If you really wanted to be of assistance to the brothers and sisters who are left behind, come back and see what you can do to help other brothers and sisters to be able to rise. But to stand up from a platform above us in the ghetto, in the hood, and in the suburbs and look back on us and say, well, that's just your fault, you ain't made it. I mean, that's a problem, and it's going to continue to be one. This argument, this debate can go on endlessly, because we always going to have those kind of people.
And that's true. And and it's funny too, because you can even look at it from the other extreme, and should I say, at the other end of the spectrum. There are going to be those individuals that's in the hood that love the hood. I ain't gonna never go nowhere. This is where I was born and raised.
Right. But again, it's because, like that's what I was saying before, it's some people whose circumstances, they're simply resigned to their fate, so to speak. Like when the Titanic was getting ready to sink, and the people realized there's just no way we can escape what is getting ready to happen to us. So some just accepted it, and just went in their rooms and waited for the water to consume them. It's the same with those in the hood. They like that Titanic. Hey, the way I came up, the way my mom, I'm simply not going to make it. And so the only thing they can do while they're alive is have something to make themselves feel like they're going to be all right. So they embrace hood life. They embrace smoking the blunt. They embrace, rap music. They embrace acting a fool. They embrace just celebrating what they think black hood life is. Okay, but for them in their own personal space, as long as you ain't breaking in houses next door and causing problems with other folks, that's your right to embrace that if that's what you want to do. Because everybody is not going to make it. It's just the way that society is set up. Some are going to fall by the wayside, others are not. I would just say you should be attempting to make relentless forward progress no matter what. But if you're not willing to do that, okay, there you go. You're going to stay right there where you are.
And like you said, if that's what your choice is, that's fine.
Then that's your choice, right? But I'm not going to hate on you, because that's your right to exist in that little realm of poverty if you so choose. In the same way that we say people got rights to love who they want, same gender, different gender, all that, you got that right. But it's the same way with a person who's black and chooses not to rise, not to strive, not to educate themselves, not to try to move to the next level. That is your right. But I'm not going, if I made it out of the hood, I'm not going to look down on you and say, well, he or she is a part of the problem. I'm going to see it as something bigger. Whatever went on in that person's life, They just simply feel they are not able to come out of who they are, and so they want to stay at that level. That's just all it is to it.
That's true. And I've always lived by the motto that if you get to be a quote-unquote success, you are only successful when you turn around and you try and help somebody else achieve that same level of success. Because if you achieve a measure of success, be it monetary, be it where you live, what car that you drive, whatever the case may be, if you achieve that success and you sit on that success, then you are no better than the individuals who you was crying about before you made it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Reason why your storehouses are overloaded now. It's like your storehouses are overloaded with grain, and you know that the people that you grew up with are hungry and they need bread, but you sitting up here just profiling that the fact that your storehouse is now overloaded with grain to make bread. Okay, well, if you ain't going to help the brothers and sisters to learn how to turn that grain that you got, that extra grain you got, into some bread for themselves, you're worthless. You're worthless to the community. You're worthless to the race. And that's just what we have. We have too many people that have made it, and now they simply will not come back and help other folks who they can clearly see. They just need you to give them a boost. Sometimes it just takes just that. If you're sitting up here with, $100 million at your disposal, and you don't want to come back and help some people who got some incredibly brilliant ideas, and they got incredible skills. They got gifts. They just need someone to truly give them that boost up and say, hey, I'm going to front you and help you get this plan off the ground. But instead, they just want to glorify themselves and want you to look at them as they drive by in a nice car, and wave at you saying, hey, see, I made it. You need to try to make it too.
That is an excellent point as well. I'm going to end this on this note. The spectrum of blackness in this country is a 100% totally man-made phenomenon. This is not something that was clocked into us as kids, because we played with our light-skinned cousins just like we played with our dark-skinned cousins. And it wasn't until we got to the age of reason that all of this nonsense was poured into us. So what we end up having to do is we must make a concerted effort. All of us must make a concerted effort to rid ourselves of that mentality that you can be blacker than black, or, you're not black as I am because you don't carry a gun, or you don't smoke weed anymore, whatever the case may be. Or I am not as black as you because I have white friends, I have white neighbors, I work with white people, whatever the case may be. We must rid ourselves of that particular mentality. And moving on from that subject, we're going to move on to topic 2. And I wish that Patrick could have had time to come. We'd probably have to revisit it again, because there's a article on UI, and I didn't read the article because to me it's nonsense. But I guess to some people it's important enough to discuss. We're going to talk about catcalling, or what is known now as street harassment. And it's funny too how it's certain things that have been done in this country for years, decades in some cases, that now it's got a name for it. And because it's got a name to it, now it's an issue. What I'm talking about is that attractive sister or attractive white woman, we're going to even look at it like that, that attractive woman who's walking down the street. Say, for instance, she gets off out on her lunch hour and she decides to go down to the deli and get herself something to eat for lunch. And as she's walking down the street, she's approached by one guy and says, hey, mommy, what's up? Man, you looking good today. Or she walks past the stereotypical construction site and all the guys is on lunch and they whistle at her and, tell her, she sure look good and, you got a big old booty, or whatever the particular phrase that they may use. is that an issue? And is it an issue to the point that it's something that we need to have a quote-unquote national discussion about? What's your thoughts on that, Terry?
Man, now we're asking for men to change the way that our DNA is structured, and our foes are like, come on, no, we should not have no national discussion about this. This would come down to men having the respect for women to know when it's appropriate and when it's not appropriate to say such things. So again, when I was coming up, when you was coming, women are beautiful. They're beautiful. Bottom line, we're males. We are attracted to females. That's nature. And so when our eyes see a woman that is absolutely stunning to us, your instinct is to, I sure wish I could marry her, mate with her, live with her, love her. It's just in you to do that. So for some guys, it comes out as, hey, baby, oh my God, you fine. Ooh, girl, you sexy. Oh my God, look at the shape on this sister. It's nature. It's a part of your nature. But what I would hope men would do would be to have the respect to know when it's appropriate and when it's not appropriate. Like if okay, this woman's just minding her own business, walking down the street, you don't need to try to call her out, for your boy so you can look like you so masculine, you so manly. You see what I'm saying? Where it's like, okay, me and you together, like me and you, we back in Leavenworth. And we at the NCO club, and we see the fine sisters walk in. Well, we would just look at each other, dude, I'm on that tonight, player. We would just say it to each other. But we ain't going to call her, girl, I'm getting some of that big booty tonight, and you all, your breasts is hanging. We just had a respect to know we don't go at it that way. So you're going to have men who are like that, who are disrespectful of women. And they're going to continue to say something, and there's nothing you can do about it. In the same way that, you can't stop people from driving without a license. Some people know it's wrong, but they're going to do it anyway. They're going to do it anyway. So this shouldn't be a national discussion. And then you have to look at the flip side. Our women, and when I say our women, I mean everybody, just women for men, period, of all races. Our women are, they're helping us out sometimes. I mean, they're dressing in some stuff that what you're supposed to say. They're putting on next to nothing, and you're seeing, booty cheeks hanging out. You're seeing, the breasts just heaved out so far because they want to show you the tattoo on their breasts and all that. So how are you supposed to not say anything when the woman is walking down the street showing so much of her body that you can't have it both ways. You can't be a woman that says, I'm going to show everything I got when I walk down the street in public. But then you offended when the brothers say, damn, look at her legs. You see, you come on now. You can't have it both ways. And again, nowhere in there am I saying, anything about women get what they deserve. What I'm saying is if you are out here in public and you got on some hoochie shorts that's cut all the way up to your private area, okay, and you got on this thing that got your breast just, all it takes is for you to sneeze and the nipple, it's one's done popped out, okay, when you walking through the hood, walking down the street, I mean, come on. I believe you doing that for just that reason, to get some attention, to get some men to say, damn, you fine. Ooh, look at that girl. Man, look how she built. But if you dressed in a business suit on Wall Street or in downtown Chicago and you minding your own business, just trying to go about your business, and men start catcalling and all that, again, that goes back to ignorance. Whereas obvious this sister is not trying to dress to get your attention, and she can't, that's just how she's put together. She's well built, and you just need to keep your comment to yourself. Say it to yourself. My goodness, that sister's, and you keep it moving. Right. But no, please, no Dateline NBC. No national discussion on men who, please, no 2020 with Dead Koppel, to say, men, are we being too much of a man nowadays? When we say to a woman, God, you're fine, as she walks down the street. My goodness, you have some legs on you. I mean, Sometimes you got to be a man. Look, on Facebook, I see women all the time posting pictures of these dudes with the six-pack abs and talking about dinner time and all this nonsense. They doing it. They just and don't think they ain't out here talking to each other and saying, "Girl, if I ain't had no man or my man ain't built." It's human nature, but the men are going to get the gist of the blame because sometimes they do take it to that extreme level. When they start going all running off at the mouth and disrespecting the lady, when it's clear again, some of that you can keep real quiet and just keep it to yourself.
And and it's funny too, because I got to play the devil's advocate because unfortunately, all of our queens are either at work and or unavailable today, so I couldn't get the female point of view on it. I'm quite sure that somebody will probably hit the page later on, and if they listen to this, or when they listen to this, and give us what their response is. But it's like something that Patrick said. You have a lady walking down the street, and she walked past a guy, and she might have had a bad day, and she might be frowning a bit or look serious or whatever. And a brother might look at her and say, "Hey, sister, you can smile today." They consider that harassment, And like I said, playing the devil's advocate, playing certain women's point of view, their position is I should be able to wear whatever I want and not be subject to disparaging comments about what I have on or what I look like. And what I think they miss is that exists across all cultures. Like you said, that's a man thing. That's not an American thing. That's not a black man thing. That's not a modern culture thing. Because if you ever know anybody or talk to anybody from a country like Iran, a country like, some of the countries in the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, where women have on burqas, hijabs from head to toe, and all you can see is their eyes, men will still walk past them and say, "Damn, you got some pretty eyes." That's just the way we are. You know what I mean? And it only rises to the level of harassment if a female is walking down the street and you basically inject yourself into her personal space. If I'm 10 feet away and, you walking by and I tell you, "Sister, you sure look good today. I got to give you a compliment. That dress and them shoes is hitting." That's not harassment. That's a damn compliment. You see what I'm saying? But if I drop what I'm doing, and now I'm getting ready to walk you to your destination, trying to get your number, trying to get your Facebook address, or whatever they do now. It used to be a time, "Hey, babe, can I get them digits?" That's what we used to do when we was young. But now, it's a different thing. Can I tweet you? Something like that. That's when it starts rising to the level of harassment. When brothers just don't want to take no for an answer, or don't take a woman ignoring them as a sign that she really don't want to be bothered. But
right.
I think it's one of those things that it has always existed, it always will exist, and it's never going to go away because that's just the way men and women are. And like you said, if we reverse it, and I come outside, I'm working on my car, and I take off my shirt or something like that, and the female, well, maybe not me, but if I take off my shirt and the female like, "Ooh, you show built up good. You work out or something like that." I could be, hey, why you harassing me like that? And then you got to ask yourself, what kind of harassment are you talking about? Are you talking about sexual harassment? Are you talking about just harassing you and keeping you from being able to, go to your chosen destination or perform a task that you had your mind on performing?
Yeah, bro, it's just simple. It's like I just think women have to be realistic and realize that you can't make the statement that I can come outside and walk down the street naked and no man should say nothing. You can't be ridiculous in being a woman either and think that the way that you dress means that that men shouldn't say anything to you, because it's based on the way that you dress. And as I said, if a woman comes outside and she is really coming outside exposing her body, I mean, you can see. I got a cousin. This sister puts it out there. I mean, she wears stuff that is like, it's like stripper stuff, and she's outside in public like this because she wants the attention. You see, but yeah, she doesn't have a right to be raped or assaulted, but she clearly knows that that's why she's wearing these 6-inch heels to go to the damn grocery store. You know, you went to the store to get meat and potatoes and cereal and milk, and you wearing like this stripper outfit, you know, knowing men are going to say something to you. So how you then going to turn around and be like, I wish these men would quit saying something to me? It's like you sound silly. You truly sound stupid right now, saying that you wish these men wouldn't say nothing to you, but you put yourself out there to go to the store looking like that. You know, so yes, it's a direct correlation. Now, again, if the woman is dressed in like the little outfits we talking about overseas where you can't even see none of the body, okay, most likely they ain't going to say nothing to you because there's nothing there to tempt them to say anything. Even if they did say you got pretty eyes, and they ain't going to say that. I mean, you're looking for the physical. So if you expose the physical and the man compliments you or makes a comment about the physical, so be it. It's the same way when back in the day when I wore shorts, I went outside when I was built, you know, and women would catcall me, you know, say, God, oh my, you got some Michael Jordan looking legs, and oh my God, look at this chest and all that. And I remember, and I'm just like, you know, me and myself, I'm like, I know it, you know, I'm saying to myself, I know, you know, but it's just life, man. It's life. I think some women take themselves too seriously. Some just, you know, they just want to find something to fuss about. But the way that you dress definitely is going to determine how men are going to view you out in public. So as I said, if it's a woman who's dressed down, you know, she's dressed in moderation, and the man sitting up there harassing her, trying to say something to her, okay, he's out of order, you know. But if she's dressed, you know, to show stuff, there's different type of men in this earth. There's a man like me who's going to see you half naked and just keep it to myself. You know, I'm going to look at you. Yeah, I'm going to look at you and say, yeah, I'm going to look at you and say, Lord, my Lord, it's hard to be saved looking at somebody like that. Right. You know, I'm going to say that to myself, but I'm not going to physically walk up to you and try to touch you and put my hands on you. Okay, but it just goes both ways. Women need to recognize that you know, a lot of y'all are dressing that way because you want that attention. And then you got to understand too, you got a lot of women who are lesbians out here, and the ones who are the female of the bunch, they dress like that because they want the doms to harass them, look at them, you know. So you got all kind of reasons now why women are dressing that way, you know, and a lot of it is for you want attention. That's why you put the clothes on. If you didn't want the attention, then you truly would dress down.
Right. And plus, and I don't want any of my female listeners to think that this is somehow dumping on women, or, you know, we like take.
It's not dumping on them. Intelligent women aren't going to view it that way. They're going to agree with us. You know, right. The professional women that I know, I'm talking women that are these sisters are some class. They're top class women. They agree with my point of view, and they're right. They're like, hey, Terry, I got certain outfits that, you know, when I want to feel like a woman, you know, and I want some men to look at me. I know what I can put on. They said, but when I want to be left alone, I know what I can put on. You know, and you see what I'm saying? So the point is, these are women, and they're telling me. I'm learning from what they're telling me. You know, and so I said that when they put on the big, huge gray sweatpants that's 2 sizes too big, you know, and they got on a sweatshirt, and you can't really see nothing but the sweatshirt. They got the Missouri or the St. Louis Cardinals, some logo on it, and they got on some old gym shoes, and their hair is up with the rag around it, and they out in public. They're telling you, I'm just trying to go do my thing. I don't need to be bothered, you know. But there's other times. And because if you fine, you fine. If you beautiful, you beautiful. Yeah, and you got, again, the heterosexual men got eyeballs, and some just are gonna say something. It comes with the territory of being a woman, you know. But you would just hope that you could get them to understand, you know, oh, thank you, and keep it moving. You know, in our day, we didn't prod like that. We just kind of would say something real quick, and if she wanted to be left alone, we left her alone. You know, but sometimes they didn't mind if you know, they knew who they wanted to try to attract in the hood. You know that, you know, the women knew, the girls knew, I'm trying to get his attention. So they would kind of come around you in a certain way that you know, try to draw your attention. And that's the same thing happening today. Some want the attention, others they don't, but you're going to get it because that's just the way you built.
That is true. And plus, I'm going to tell you something else, too. It's a little bit deeper than that, too. Because a lot of women don't really realize that in a lot of cases, I won't say the majority of cases, but in a lot of cases, depending on the age of the man that's doing the quote-unquote catcalling, studies have shown that men don't look at your ass first. Men don't look at your breasts first. Men look at your face. If you pretty, you could have on a garbage bag, and a man's going to look. And it's clocked into us as human beings because there's a reason why men who are physically fit and, got the six-pack ab, there's a reason why those men are more desirable to a female than, say, the guy with the six-pack, but the six-pack's in the bag. You know what I mean? The guy who's, he's out of shape or, he smoked too much, so he get out of breath real easy. There's a reason why y'all look at that. That's clocked into your DNA because as a thinking animal, you know that individual who's built like that will be a better genetic donor. Vice versa. If I'm looking at a female and, she's thick, she's pretty, her hair is thick and it's put up nice. I ain't talking about the weave. I mean, even though some weaves look good, and it's hard to tell. If it's done professionally, it's hard to tell who's got real hair and who don't. You know what I mean? But I'm looking at your nails. Your nails is, they done and they look strong. They're not chipped or broken or anything like that. I'm looking at you and I'm saying to myself, my subconscious, the genetic part of me is saying to myself, she would make a good mother. Now, whether or not I take it to the extreme and start whistling at you and, you know what I mean, here I come running down the street at you, got you scared to death because here's this strange man just running up on you, that's an entirely different question. But if you pretty sisters, that's why you're pretty. You pretty because men are supposed to be attracted to you.
Yeah, we flesh. I mean, look, we're flesh. That's what we are. We are flesh, and if the flesh is constructed right and it's appealing enough, both sexes want to think things about the other one. Again, we can't get away from being what we are and what we were created to be. We were created and given the instructions to procreate in order to keep life going. So in order to do that, you had to be put together in such a way that each can appeal to the opposite sex. And so that's why women are built the way they're built, because they were built to appeal to the flesh part of the man that will want to entice the man to procreate with them. And it's the same way with them towards us. So again, you can't expect for you would definitely demand that men be respectful. And again, I'm all on that side. You do not need to be disrespecting ladies and just trying to call them out in public and make these cat calls in public and embarrassing them. I mean, you know that you're doing that, and that I would like to see cease. But at the same time, there's nothing that any woman on earth could ever do to keep a man from thinking what he's thinking. You see what I'm saying? And the same with the man. He can't prevent a woman from thinking what she's thinking about him. If she just simply has these desires for him because of the way he's built or whatever he has going on, you can't change that. That's flesh. You cannot change the flesh. So if a woman gets an attitude and she in a bad mood and you just say, hey, it's going to be okay, Miss Lady, everything's going to be all right. And she looks at you like you done committed an offense. I mean, you just apologize. I'm sorry, Miss Lady. I just wanted to try to, brighten your day and make it's going to be all right. You see what I'm saying? It's like certain women, you can't do anything about an angry woman. You know what I mean?
You can't get the hell out of our way.
Well, right, but that ain't going to change her from being an angry woman. So what I'm saying is women walking around out here that are just angry women. They just mad at whatever's going on in their life, whatever their circumstances are. So the men will feel the wrath of that when she's out in public because she's going to try to ignore every man. But if there was one man that she wanted, she would flip her script, and believe me, he could catcall her all day, and she wouldn't do anything but bat her eyes and sashay and try to get his attention.
Then again, you got some women that'll turn around and bite your head off and spit it down the street. But that's a whole other story.
Yeah, again, the ones that don't want you in the first place. It's like I said, everybody has somebody that likes them, but you don't quite like them back the same way. So you would kind of rebuff their advances, nice and in a nice way. But then there are others that you really would like to know. You want to know them. You want them in your life. You would like that person to flirt with you. So them, the women ain't gonna bite their heads off. Same thing with me. I got some ladies that when I talk to them, they enjoy the conversation. I can flirt with them all day long, and they accept that because they like me too. But then there are those I know it's just not that kind of relationship, so I'm not going to say anything to you because I don't know you. Right. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it comes down to, is just respect. If I don't know you, I'm not just about to start just coming up to you, saying stuff to you and flirting with you because I just feel it's disrespectful. If the woman likes me, kind of find a way to get my attention and let me know that, and then I know it's okay to say something else.
That's for sure. And with that, we're going to, it's like 7-8 minutes until we got to be done. But I want to move to this next topic. It's free for all, so we're just going to do this like we always do it. And this is for you, E.T.Z. for Sheezy. E.T. asked the question, will Kobe and the Lakers make the playoffs this year?
No. Next question.
You can't just say that about the Lakers show, man. That's the Lakers.
That ain't Magic's Lakers. No, the answer is no.
That's
Kobe is old. Kobe is old. Steve Nash half dead. The rest of them you don't even know their names. Julius Randle just broke his leg. The answer is no. Next question. Yeah, he broke his leg. Yeah, he broke his leg. Carted him off with the white stretcher. Carted him off on the stretcher. Julius Randle, the
white towel over his leg.
Yeah, over his leg, braced
like
up. Braced up, and it's a wrap. He's done for the year. So you already have your prize rookie out. Kobe's just coming back, and he's 30, 36, 37 years old. Them legs done had some miles on it. You got to remember, Kobe came in the league when he was he came in the league when he was 19. You know what I mean? And, Kobe's not. He's like Jordan. He's got to accept his finality and his fate that nobody stays young forever. Michael Jordan had to finally realize that. Larry Bird, Julius Erving, Magic Johnson, everybody, Isaiah. It's just life. So no, the Cobras. No, I say no. The answer to that is no.
This is what I think. I think that it is indeed possible for the Lakers to make the playoffs, and let me tell you why.
And I think you need to stop drinking that alcohol.
And let me tell you why.
Because that alcohol is making your brains thinking. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Go ahead. I know. Go ahead. Yeah, tell me why. Tell me why they're gonna make it.
Because in this alternate universe that I live in, Paul Gasol is still there. Shaq.
No, he's not. Dude, Paul Gasol is with the Bulls. Hello, excuse me. Hello.
Magic is the point guard.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, all right. There we go. All right, yeah, them some good drugs. Okay, continue. Them some good drugs. All right, there you go. All right.
No.
Yeah, and Worthy's the power. Worthy's the small forward. AC Green's the power.
Coming off the bench.
Yeah, and Michael Cooper's
and he's still
there.
A virgin. He's still a
he ain't married yet, so he just strong as an ox. Yeah. Okay. All right, I got you. Yeah, and they're going to be...
Sadly, it is to say, the reason why they're not going to make the playoffs this year is 100% totally Kobe's fault. 100% totally Kobe's fault. Because one thing, he stuck their ass up for over $40 million when he was making $30 million anyway, which basically precluded them from hiring anybody in the free agent market that would even possibly challenge his alpha dog status on that team. I think that if Kobe would have did what, say, Dirk Nowitzki did for the Mavs, which is basically take the bare bones salary so they can go out and they can get Chandler Parsons. They can go back and they can get Tyson Chandler back from the Knicks along with two other fairly good players. If he would have did that same thing, they had a shot at getting somebody like LeBron. Because I think that LeBron would have went to L.A. if he knew that the legacy of the Lakers would have been his. But sharing the same court with Kobe, nah, he ain't gonna do it. Nobody wants to play with Kobe.
And you gotta understand, Kobe,
it's Kobe.
He wanted it to be he wanted it truly to be about him, and everybody needed to know the Lakers was his team and all that. Had he done it the way that MJ did it, where MJ accepted a $2 million a year salary for the majority of his career until he got to the end of his career, and then he got the one big $30 million a year bonus after they had won their championships. See, Mike deferred the money because he knew he would make his money in the endorsements. Yep. See, so he wanted to build a winner. And that's why he said, no, get $2 million, good, cool. Go out and get me some talent so we can win 6 rings. You know what I mean? That's what he did. But Kobe didn't do that. Kobe's like, give me the money and try to get me some players to win rings. And no, you can't have it both ways. So I just think, so my answer to that question, the only way they make the playoffs is everybody else in the West has to simply have broken legs and busted hips and all that kind of thing.
Horrible years.
Yeah, horrible. Yeah, where they main players are out for the season.
But I haven't looked at their record yet, at least not that closely. But I don't think that they really have that, hard of a record. Like they play Phoenix like 20 times or something like. They could beat Phoenix. Well, okay, I'm lying. They could beat Minnesota. So they got the opportunity to knock off some of those. The Sacramentos, the Minnesotas, on a good night and a bad night, they might knock off Golden State or somebody like that. Steph Curry might be, 1 for 27 because, he ain't going to stop shooting. So, they got the opportunity to make the playoffs because I will say this, you know what I mean? Out of all the players that's ever played in the league, my top 3, Dr. J, Jordan, and then arguably Kobe Bryant, as far as my favorite players. I'm not going to say that they're the best or whatever because, everybody got that opinion. But I've always liked Kobe's game, because he patterns himself after Jordan. Everything Jordan does, he tries to do. And I think as a superstar of his stature, he has the ability to do one of those, superhuman type, average 60 points a game or something like that, just to get them to squeak into the 8th spot, in the playoffs for a first round, exit against a San Antonio or Clippers or somebody like that. But I think that he has the skill and he has the ability to take them to that 8th spot. So I ain't going to front like that. It depends on how the year roll out. Because if you can make the playoffs at 41 and 41 and get that 8th spot, I think they're capable of that. But I didn't know Julius Randle had his leg broke, so I'm
he broke his leg in their debut game. And by the way, they 0-1. So they already in last place, 0-1. Behind the Dallas Mavericks at 0-1. So I just see it as it's going to be a tough season for LA, man. Again, the glory days are over. Just like in Boston, the glory days are over. Detroit, the glory days are over. Philadelphia, the glory days was over back in the 80s. And in some teams, it's going to take you years and years to rebuild that kind of image. Remember, the Dr. Jerry Buss died and the son took over, and sometimes management changes like that, you don't bounce back from those. You just don't bounce back from that. The young kid's running the team now, and he's not his dad.
And Kobe immediately went and stuck his ass up, dummy. You know what I mean? And
yep.
It's crazy too, because if you look at the parallels between what the Lakers did recently, is the same thing that Boston did. Like you said, when the Bird era came to an end, they held on to them too long instead of, hey, dig, dude, nobody lasts forever. This is a league. It's bigger than you. I'm going to trade you and see if I can get some young talent. We're going to be in the basement for a while, but, you know what I mean? If you, we're going to push you out.
But in that But in that case, you knew Bird wasn't going anywhere. I mean, he was going to be, Larry Legend was going to be a Celtic no matter what. But you see, they traded Robert Parrish away at the end of his career.
Didn't he retire, Bull?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm gonna say they traded him away. Dennis Johnson. So they got rid of everybody except that legend. Same thing with the Bulls. Mike could have stayed if he wanted, but after the 6th ring, Mike was like, okay, I'm gonna go to other pastures. So yeah, but in order to build a winner, the star players have to be willing to defer some of their salary, and you got to be unselfish enough to allow some other people to step up and be the star of the game.
Right.
And
you got to let it go.
No question. And Kobe's not willing to do that. Kobe doesn't want to do that, whereas Mike did that. He said, hey, let Steve Kerr get some glory. Let John Paxson have some glory. Let Dennis, let my guys get some glory. Let Scotty get some glory. Let Horace Grant get some glory. And the result is, the 6 rings.
Right. And the sad part about it is that this little antic, this last little contract negotiation he did has probably doomed the Lakers for at least the next 5 to 6 years, because they traded away all their first round draft picks trying to get people to put in place around him.
Mm-hmm.
Dwight Howard, Steve Nash. He done picked up a damn suitcase and he out for the year. Come on, dude, let it go. That's what I'm saying. Got hurt moving luggage.
Mm-hmm. And that tells you, I mean, yeah, you pulling luggage and got hurt, so that tells you again, age is taking its toll on him. Dwight Howard after last year played with Kobe and is like, this just ain't the right fit for me. So he bolted, and that's what I'm saying. The Los Angeles Lakers are long since removed from being those glorious Lakers that me and you remember. We're going to be on the NBA on CBS, and they going to the finals. And they either going to play Boston or they going to play Philly. We knew that was going to happen back then. Yeah, we knew that. And those days are gone.
Or Detroit. Detroit snuck in there.
What this is before Detroit became in the prime. I'm talking about like them 70s now. From 79 to 85 and shit. It was all L.A., Boston, and Philly then.
Well, there's your answer, E-Teasy for Sheezy. Terry says definitely not. I say that the door is cracked open a little bit, but then again, I didn't know that old boy broke his leg. So
yeah, let's revisit this. Let's revisit this at the All-Star break. No, seriously, let's revisit this at the All-Star break, and let's see where they at. Maybe they'll still be in contention. But we'll see.
What you mean still be in contention? They not in contention now. They over.
Well, like I said, at the All-Star break, we'll see, where they at. If they still look like they, in that they can get the 8th playoff spot, then we'll say, hey, they got a half a chance because half the season is left. But they just, to me, they don't have the horses to deal with Oklahoma City. They don't have the horses to deal with San Antonio. They don't have the horses to deal with Phoenix or Denver. They don't have the horses to deal with Houston because Houston beat. I mean, it's going to be a tough road to hoe. And then you still got to go and play other teams. You still got to play Cleveland. You still got to deal with a strong young Washington team now. And bang with Indiana. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for LA, man.
We're going to have to do a sports show too. We're going to have to do our NBA, preseason picks or whatever. And just
yeah, let's do it. I mean, same thing with football. Anytime it's sports, I'm ready. Sports is my thing, so I'm ready to talk about that. But LA certainly won't be somebody I'm talking about in the playoffs come playoff time.
You're just a Kobe hater.
No, Kobe, look, I appreciate Kobe Bryant, but I'm looking at the team overall. And from positions 1 to positions 12, I don't see a playoff team. And how is that hating on Kobe? I'm just saying I don't see 12 players on that roster that together get them into the playoffs. So if somebody could show me where those 12 players are on the roster that will get them to the playoffs, we got ourselves a healthy debate.
You just don't like Kobe.
Well, don't tell nobody.
Anyways, with that, we're going to bring this show to an end. I want to thank everybody that participated. I want to, as usual, TB and Black Pat for coming through and sharing their thoughts. I want to thank everybody that dialed in, and all the thousands and thousands of individuals out there in web land who listen to the broadcast on their particular computers or what have you. And as usual, I end our show with the revolution will not be televised, but the revolution definitely must be funded. So if you want to become a card-carrying member of Urban Intellectuals, you can go to urbanintellectuals.com/member, and for the low price of $24 a year, you can become a card-carrying member of Urban Intellectuals. Or if you just want to donate to the cause, you can go to urbanintellectuals.com/donate, and you can give to your heart's content. Until tomorrow at 1 o'clock Central Time, that's 2 o'clock Eastern Time, and 5 o'clock in the Marianas Trench in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I hope that you will join us where we will be dealing with issues that deal with us and our problems. And I thank everybody, and peace out.